Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jaylen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11.109. Now SGA probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
And welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Top Thunder Podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Huntsinger at Thunder Chats. We are part of the Believe Network. This podcast is brought to you by BetOnline.ag. Now that is out of the way, hey, let's not bury the lead. Matty Mulls is here. Matty Mulls, first of all, it's great to see you. It's been a little bit since we had you on the pod. So how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I kind of wanted to take a nap in the fourth quarter, and I didn't expect that to be on my timeline when I woke up this morning, but here we are. It's pretty good to be back. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. And the Thunder have officially arrived. I know that last year they were the 1 seed, but this just feels different. This team feels different, and a lot to talk about.
Yeah, no, it hits different. And, fitting that it was Easter because the Memphis Grizzlies came into Oklahoma City today and they absolutely just laid an egg. You want to talk stats. There's a lot of stats in this game that we could talk about, and we'll talk about all of them. But the Memphis Grizzlies scored 80 points tonight. For perspective, the Memphis Grizzlies were second in the league in scoring at 121.7 points per game, and the Thunder held them to 80 points. I just saw a stat a second ago. The Thunder's bench actually outscored the Memphis Grizzlies starters 51-37. Just a completely dominant performance from the Oklahoma City Thunder. And going into the game, all people was talking about was, most people were saying Thunder sweep because, that's like the logical explanation. But a lot of people's like, it's a fun Grizzlies team. They got talent. I can see them taking 1, maybe 2, whatever.
48 wins, dude. It's not like this team is a scrub.
Oh, and they put on some really good performances. Even in that game they lost against the Warriors in the play-in, they showed up and showed out. Obviously they just put the screws to Dallas in the last playing game to get into this spot. So they're not a slouch of a team. And then of course the Thunder, their starters haven't played in basically 2 weeks at this point. So there was a lot of talk about maybe Thunder will come out slow. They're liable to have some rust. And, for some players that was the case, but for the team, it absolutely was not, because I mentioned the Grizzlies scored 80 points. The Thunder scored 131 points. The 51-point margin is the largest margin in Game 1 history of the NBA. So remember a couple of years ago, the Grizzlies set the largest margin of victory in the regular season against the Thunder. Well, guess what? I'll take the largest margin of victory in Game 1 in NBA history in the playoffs. I'll take that any day.
And it should have been 54, but shout out Wendell Carter, Marvin Bagley.
I was like, how'd you get that one?
Marvin Bagley hitting, being perfect pretty much from the field and hitting that half-court shot at the end of the third quarter. But man, just incredible. The Thunder really didn't show up much in the fourth quarter, only 19 points. But then you look at it, and the Grizzlies scored 16 in the second and 17 in the fourth. So 19 points in the fourth still outscored the Grizzlies in 2 of their quarters. So just what a ridiculous game. Pretty remarkable. I was pushing for the 73, and it looked like we could have gotten it at one point in the third. And then it looked like we could have gotten the 58 for the largest playoff victory to tie. But just in the last minute and a half, we were tired and missing shots, and Kennard would hit one and Aldama. So it's fine, but 51 points, man. Let's go.
Yeah, because that's important context for the playoffs, man. You don't get two-way players on the playoff rotation. They don't get minutes in the playoffs because you can only have 12 players eligible for playoffs. And so in the fourth quarter, you mentioned our legs got tired. We basically had to play the same 5 to 6 guys for not even the last 12 minutes of the fourth quarter. Going into the 3-4 minute mark left of the third quarter, those 5-6 guys were playing in the game. So it's natural they got tired. But hey, that's what happens, man, whenever you put belt to butt, as they like to say. But shout out to T in the chat saying T is excited. The Grizzlies said no Moss. Absolutely. It was true dominant performance. And Mulls, this is rapid reaction, but I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't go over this game and the way that we love going over games and the single large item. And Mulls, since you have not been on a little bit, I want to give you the honor of having the first single large item to kick us off.
Yeah, Shai had a down game and it didn't matter. That's my big thing. So going into the playoffs, granted, first game, first series, it's gonna get a lot more real from here on out. But the one thing we were worried about wasn't is Shai going to show up in the playoffs. It was, are other people around Shai going to be able to show up and take off some of the load? Well, at least as of right now, it looks like all the other guys, literally all the other guys, are locked in and ready to go, and they're going to play their roles. And I know we'll get more into some of those. I bet one of those role players will be your guy, but it was just a total team performance that didn't need Shai, and that's really, we'll see if that carries over into game 2. Again, role players play better at home, but big time for the Thunder with everybody, contributing.
Yeah, for sure. We got Robert in the chat saying, well, if I could pull it up, what just happened? Restream, why are you being dumb? All right, well, okay, there we go. Thunder the frick up out of Robert here. We got Dwayne Thomas saying, watching from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What a game. Wasn't really much of a game, but it was a really fun game to watch if you're a Thunder fan. Speaking on Shai, I saw some people freaking out. I saw some Nuggets fan, Jokic MVP apologists, taking victory laps on the timeline over this game because, it wasn't Shai's best game. He shot 4-13 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, at 15 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. But it was very clear early on he was rusty. I think he made his first shot. It was an up and under. And then he had a couple rim out. He had a mid-range rim out. He had a three-pointer rim out. And he was searching for a shot. He was really trying to establish rhythm. And if it was a competitive game where he would have finished out the third quarter, I think he still would have got 25, maybe even 30 points just because that's how it was. And you could feel he was starting to get rhythm in the game. But I pointed this out on Twitter to somebody. I just realized my laptop's not even charging. I'll get that in a second. I just realized that Shai, the last 3 games, he didn't play the last 3 games. Obviously, that Phoenix game, Dub and Chet got to play. iHeart sat out. But Shai, iHeart, those guys, they sat out more than the rest of the team. Dort even played, Kaysen played. Of course, we got to saw the Aaron Wiggins show, Isaiah Joe show, all of those guys. So, I'm not worried in the slightest about Shai. And they talked about before the game, Katie George was talking about how last year in the playoffs, and we've heard this before, but it was cool to hear on national broadcast, especially with this game happening, it was perfect timing. About how Shai had took last year personally, in the playoffs, how he rose to the occasion, but the other guys weren't ready when it came down to it. Especially whenever he had to pass it off or he was off the floor, and he wanted to make sure that wasn't the case this year. So, there was many cases throughout the season that he would defer early in the game, late in the game, keeping guys in rhythm, giving guys different opportunities, different looks. So whenever it comes to playoff time, they are ready to step up when it matters the most. And this is the fruits of those labors from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because, obviously he didn't have it going. Everybody else did. Literally everybody else did. And like I said, I'm not worried. The fact that we were able to do this with him struggling as bad as he did, just honestly makes me more optimistic for what this team is going to be able to do this playoffs.
And you talk about him deferring to other people too. Happened in the game today.
Mm-hmm.
On the wing, Shai had it. He could have shot a 3, but he kicked it over to Dort. Dort nailed it, and then it goes to Preston. He's so smart.
Yep.
Because he's keeping everybody, engaged, keeping them locked in. And it's not about him, it's about the team. And he said that the entire season, and yet people want to attack him because he's the front runner for the MVP award. And there are a lot of Jokic apologists here. Again, this isn't attacking Jokic. Certainly Jokic elevates his team, but Shai does that in a way that maybe doesn't get qualified or quantified on the score sheet. And yet he's just constantly been pouring into his guys to get them ready for this moment. So you talk about valuable player. If you want to look at the stat sheet, certainly there might be other guys that have a case in some aspects over Shai, but in getting the team prepared to win games, certainly there's nobody better in the NBA than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, and he was great. And, the thing that kind of sets him apart from a guy like Jokic is his two-way ability. Like, he locks in defensively. And tonight, it was a testament of that. He had 2 blocks tonight against none other than Zach Edey. Shaquille O'Neal in the flesh, as Cone likes to say. The fact that, Shai is a 6'6" point guard blocking, the 7'2" behemoth that is Zach Edey twice in one game is just absolutely nuts. And it's a testament to, how locked in he was defensively. So, yeah, shout out to Shai. He'll be all right. Better days are ahead. And I think that he was, as I said, kind of coming around in the third quarter. And he did a good job of sharing the ball early on whenever his shot wasn't falling. I think he had 4 assists at halftime. So not worried at all about that. Let's see here. I guess for my single large item, obviously there's a few ways we can go about this, but I want to shout out Chet Holmgren because Dub, I'm sure Dub is going to be the next one, but Dub has kind of been doing this here recently. He has been playing a lot better. He had been in a really good rhythm, playing hot on both ends of the ball, sharing the ball, everything. Chet had been kind of struggling, especially when playing double bigs, because he felt like more of a bystander on offense. We hadn't been utilizing him. We hadn't been getting him involved. And over the weekend, he came out, said, I'm feeling good. I'm 100%. I'm confident. I'm ready, for this game. And, I put in the chat because the Thunder posted the video of the players walking in. I was like, Chet's wearing a suit. We might win by 100 because famously Chet wins or wears sweatsuits all the time, to the games. And we didn't win by 100, but obviously 51 points, and Chet was a huge part of that early on, just completely dominant in 3 quarters, had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 5 of 11 from the field, 3 of 4 from deep, and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. And man, he was just an absolute game changer on both ends of the floor. The 3-point shot looks good. He's back to contesting. He had multiple contests at the rim that, obviously didn't end up being blocks, but altered and affected the shot, specifically on John Moran a couple of times where he just went straight vertical with him. And yeah, people was talking about how the Grizzlies would be a rebounding issue for the Thunder once again, even though we brought in Hartenstein for that very reason. But, just the sheer size of Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson. But Chet Holmgren, being the smaller of our 2 bigs, went out there and got 10 rebounds in 3 quarters. So I can't say enough about Chet.
Incredible performance from him. When he pulls up from 3, I expect it to go in, and it looks so pure. His shot just looks so much better this year than it did last year, especially this time of year. I didn't quite expect every shot to go in, at the end of last year like this one. Obviously a little bit to clean up when he's handling the ball, trying to get in the paint. That's going to come. There's work to be done there, but defensively, oh my, we forget how dominant he was in the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
Looked like a defensive player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Front runner for that, even at that point. And then he goes out with injury. He's just even against 2 bigs, he's just so impactful on the defensive side of the floor. And it's a force multiplier when you've got another big in there in some of those scenarios where he can just float and be aggressive and just eat up whatever gets through, instead of having to be anchored down to one person. Shout out to Mark, by the way, for putting that into motion and allowing that to become, over the course of the season, part of the fabric of what we do, so that when we get to this point, we go against double bigs, we're ready for that. And a big like Edey that can just dominate everything inside, JJJ, who can get hot from the outside even and be a stretch big at times. None of that mattered because of primarily what Chet did, setting the tone defensively. So shout out to him. And then getting to the line too was also big, and 6 for 6 from the line. You got to pay those off, and he certainly did that. When he's at the line though, is his routine taking just a little bit longer than normal? I was like, man, like, are they going to start counting soon or what?
Hey, listen, whatever he's doing, keep doing it because he was 100% tonight, and he was kind of off this season. So
yeah, I'll take it. So maybe that was a little bit more of a deliberate, like, okay, I'm actually going to take my time and not rush this, and breathe and focus and get it out clean. So props to him, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of moving on, we got a little carried away early on, so we was looking to do a 30-minute pod, so we kind of got to wrap it through a few of these here. But Dub, I mean, oh no, I'm sorry. You had the next thing, large Adam. I guess you're going to talk about Dub.
No, you can talk about him. I'm going to talk about number 55, who was a plus 35 on the plus minus today. Isaiah Hartenstein, man. The dude's a stud. You could call him Hubbenstein for how everything could just flow through him offensively.
The heart hub, baby.
And I mean, his floater game is just so freaking pretty. It's such a weapon, and guys aren't used to defending out at like 8-9 feet from the basket. So he gets that pretty much anytime he wants it, and it's automatic for the most part. That really makes the defense focus on him and opens up backdoor cuts and stuff to the basket. So props to him. My one thing for him, dude, I want to see a 3 go in. I know you haven't made one all year, but you're open there at the top of the key. Just, man, please take one. One a game if they give it to you. I just want to see one go in.
Especially if the margin of victory is this big. Like, might as well let it fly. But yeah, man, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. And it was very obvious early on how much of a difference maker iHeart is on this team that we didn't have last year. Just being a force down low. Like you said, that floater, it's so important against a team like Memphis because Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey, like, they're shot blockers. Like, they're skilled shot blockers, and they're used to guys getting all the way to the rim and, them blocking their shots. Like, they're not ready for that quick pull-up push shot, and iHeart's been money at it all year, and I didn't think he was going to miss tonight. I think he missed one. Like, his last shot, he missed it. But obviously, had some really smart plays. Cleaning up inside, I think he had 4 offensive rebounds tonight. So, cleaning up the glass inside, finishing off of that, finished off a cut off of a slick J-Dub touch pass as well. So, yeah, iHeart has been phenomenal all season long and just continues to be so in the playoffs as well. Kind of getting right into J-Dub, man. Jaylen Williams was the guy that everybody had kind of circled, like, if the Thunder are going to go far, it's because of this guy. And if tonight was any indication, the Thunder are going to the mountaintop this year because 26 minutes, he had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, a block, had 62.5% shooting with 10 of 16, missed all his threes. So, like, still didn't hit a 3 and was still just absolutely dominant. They could not stop him getting into the lane. He was an automatic paint touch. He was moving the ball on offense. He was creating advantages on offense. He was attacking the glass, and defensively was just an absolute game wrecker. I put this on Twitter, and, we're going to talk about the rest of the team as well, but I think this is the most disruptive defense in the history of the NBA. Like, we might, like, you can nickel and dime if it's the best defense of all time, different eras, whatever. Like, if you're talking about just strictly disruptive, like, they had 12 steals and 8 blocks in this game, and that was with the main team playing for, like, realistically, I don't know, 32 minutes, like 30 minutes maybe. Yeah, no, not 32 minutes, like 28 to 30 minutes, and, like, they were just absolutely nuts. So shout out Dub. Like, if he continues to do this, like, especially like in the non-Shai minutes, it's so funny. Everybody, like, going into the playoffs was talking about non-Shai minutes. Like, non-Shai was the only thing that worked today. And it was a big reason was because Jaylen Williams.
Well, you're talking about Shai building up his teammates over the course of, this season, last season. Our defensive identity and our ability to flow the ball naturally offensively was built 4 years ago. Before we went on this run, when, people were calling us, like, certain people calling us the black eye of the league, we were starting to build up good habits, and we just did not have the horses to compete. Now that we've built the right process in place, we have the right people in place, and now everything is just going swimmingly. And people are like, oh my God, youngest team. It's like, yeah, maybe, but they've been playing like this, just not as effective as this, but like as part of their program for years to get to this point. And so, like, you talk about, you have other guys come on, and yeah, they're supposed to be held to a certain standard, even like our 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th guys off, off the floor or off the bench. And you saw that there was like a 6-0 run or something. Memphis went on. The game was certainly out of hand, and Dagnall called the timeout to focus us and get us back into position. It's just what we are, agnostic of the situation. We are expected to play a certain way, and like the rest of the team follows. That being said, you have to have certain players to be able to just do incredible things. It is still a star-driven league. J-Dub is an all-star, and he's blossoming into being an all-NBA type of guy. He's been on some people's ballots probably for like third-team all-NBA.
Yeah.
We will see where he goes. But question for you, when he broke free and slammed that home two-handed and the crowd went nuts, didn't that it felt to me like the same vibe of when Russell Westbrook was playing against the Lakers, got fouled and had the scoop off the glass and won, and the crowd went nuts, like realizing this team is different. We are here. We've officially arrived, because that crowd, like the energy was the same.
Yeah. Now, I would say there was that. There's the case and dunk. Shout out to you in the chat talking about the case and double poster. We'll definitely get to that as well. For me, like the play that was just like, holy crap! Like this is like pickup basketball for us compared to like the rest of the NBA. The Wiggs lob to Dub where he finished it one. I thought it was over.
Shay was like,
too. But yeah, Shay and Chet were waiting to check in, and like they just sat, like Chet was screaming and Shay was just like in disbelief, like what just happened? Like, what is my team right now? Like that was the moment for me. That was, like whenever you see your superstar react that way, like, whenever he's about to come into the game as well. Yeah, that cemented it for me. But yeah, moving on, because I mean there's a lot of people to talk about here, man. I mean, I guess next up we got to talk about Lou Dort. Big game Lou once again coming in to just wreck the game, man. Shout out to Lou Dort, because Jerry was at the game tonight, and if he was here, I know he would say, Lou Dort, hope you're doing well. I love you. He had 12 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. And I feel like these 3 steals came in succession, like very quick. Like right out at halftime, Lou Dort, like, he was a game wrecker all game. Like he held Desmond Bane to 9 points, which if you watch what Desmond Bane did in the playing games, that is ridiculous. Like he had like 30 points against the Warriors, and I think he had around the same against the Mavericks as well. But
Bane was a negative 51.
That's so funny to me, man. But yeah, no, he was an absolute game wrecker. But yeah, coming out into the third quarter, got those 3 steals. I think he knocked down 3 threes in the third quarter as well, and including that last one that Shai, kind of thought about for a second, then flipped it over. And what was awesome is the confidence that Shai instills in his teammates. As soon as he passed that ball to Lou was still lining up the shot. Shai was already emoting, like celebrating the made shot that was about to happen. And sure enough, man, Dort knocked it down. And we call him Big Game Lou for a reason, man. Like he was on fire from the 3-point line tonight, and he was huge, man. Like whenever your role players show up like this, it's huge.
I mean, what more can you really say about Lou?
Yeah.
4 of 8. Like, he shot 50% from 3. Yeah, that's about right. Like,
playoff riser, man.
He's just, it's gotten to the point now where, like, what's our better shot? Lou Dort shooting an open 3 or Shai in the mid-range? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know at this point with how effective Lou's been shooting behind the arc this year. So, yeah. And honestly, like, he's put in the work, but his strides offensively have allowed him to get more notoriety on defense, because people aren't talking about him being a negative on the offensive end. They're able to talk about, man, he shuts down X, Y, and Z. Why has he never been on an all NBA or all defensive team? Like, why are we not talking about Lou more? Well, we get to now because we're not talking about his negatives. We're just talking about his positives. So great for him. Hope it continues. Only 22 minutes tonight, but he earned his paycheck in all those 22 minutes for sure.
Yep. And, also, I completely lost my train of thought on what I was going to say about Lou Dort. Oh, yeah, no, I was going to say, talking about defensive recognition. Like, he absolutely looked the part of Defensive Player of the Year tonight. Like, he was insane on defense. So I hope that just continues. I saw some people kind of giving him love in terms of like Defensive Player of the Year votes. I don't necessarily think he's going to win it. I think it would be awesome. I have a bet on it, just a value play like from earlier in the year. So like that would be awesome too. But like if he's just a finalist, like I think the finalists are supposed to be announced at some point tonight. If he's announced as the finalist, like in the top 3, like that's a huge W for like the Lou Dort agenda. So yeah, shout out Lou. We love you and we hope you're doing well. Mulls, I think the easiest thing to do for the rest of this is just kind of lump the bench into one. Because as I said, the bench was phenomenal today. I think they scored 51 points, led by none other than the savior of basketball, Aaron Wiggins, who, to Shai's credit, they talked about Shai, or they talked to Shai post game, and he was very complimentary of Aaron Wiggins. Said he didn't play the entire first quarter. That is 30 minutes real time. Comes in immediately and knocks down 3 threes in like basically 3 minutes. Matty Mulls, like he, I had the run here. So the Thunder went from Desmond Bane made a layup at 2 minutes and 38 seconds to give the Grizzlies 17 points. From that point on, the Thunder went on a 59-19 run, stretching early into the third quarter. And Wiggins was a huge part of that. Like I said, popping it off right there at the beginning of the second quarter. And, just carried on throughout the game. He was the guy that we relied on to initiate the offense, run the offense, score the buckets late as the game was already out of hand. And he was able to do that. He was able to keep the Grizzlies not at arm's length, but like just fully out of the picture with his scoring capabilities. And I talked to Alex the other day about, when we were reacting to these last few games of the season, and the thing that stood out to me about it was, Wiggins had been hurt. Wiggins had been out of rhythm. Isaiah Joe had been hurt. He'd been out of rhythm. Like some of these guys, they have been out of rhythm. And what it did was gave them a chance to catch rhythm going into the playoffs. And you saw it tonight, man. Like Isaiah Joe didn't shoot he shot 2 of 5 from 3. He shot 40% from 3. It wasn't like a 3-point barrage or anything like that. But for him, for Aaron Wiggins, for Jaylen Williams, Big J Will, those triple-double streaks like that did inordinate amounts to his confidence. Had 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists tonight, 3 stocks as well. Hit 2 threes. Like Jaylen Williams was huge in this game, and it wasn't all in garbage time either. Like he was in the rotation for this game. Kenrich Williams 6 points, 8 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals. Didn't shoot the most efficiently, but like he was still making plays out there. Cookies and cream. Alex Caruso, Case and Wallace. They scored 2 points combined, had 1 stock combined, but they had 7 assists. And Case Wallace might have had the 2 biggest points of the game, as T mentioned, the double poster over Scottie Pippen Jr. and known the shot blocker, former Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. I cannot say enough about the Thunder bench tonight, man. Like they made this blowout possible.
Have you ever seen a player score 0 points and be a plus 30? That's pretty insane. Baby. That's pretty insane. But that's just what it is. Yeah, the bench, incredible. Wiggins is basically the same play, back to back. Trips down the floor, drive in, kick to the corner, immediate kick back out to Wiggins in the wing, and he buried it. Like I thought I was in the Matrix. I thought there was a glitch or something, and it repeated itself. Just incredible to be there. And it's great. This team is so incredibly unselfish, and they're always willing to make the right play, even if that puts shine on someone else. It's great. Like I just love watching this team play, and it almost doesn't even matter who's on the floor because they all just played the game so well. But Wiggins, man, people are noticing. They're going to start calling Presti a criminal at this point with like his contract's actually going down, right? It's a descending contract. Just insanity. Prestes, he's so smart. He's so smart.
Yes. 55th pick in the draft.
The bench, man. Even Dylan Jones hit one. And we talk about the bench, but let's talk about the bench while the bench is playing. Chet was super engaged when Dylan hit that shot. He was like, oh, he was doing the rhythm. And he's just as excited for those guys as they are for him. It just shows the unity for this team up and down, the board. So, God, I love Thunder U. I love the culture. I love what we got going. And there's just not enough good things to say about everyone involved.
Yeah, and then the other thing with Alex Caruso, this is one of the last ones I gotta say. Also, AJ Mitchell, 5 points in 14 minutes of action. Really cool to see him get points in his first playoff action. Alex Caruso is the only player on the team that did not score a single basket. To his credit, he did not shoot a single basket either, so that is why he had 0. But it would have been really cool to see everybody score, at least once in this game. But in the second quarter, Dub had the assignment of Jaren Jackson for most of the game. Whenever he checked out in the second quarter, they put Alex Caruso in. Man, Jaren Jackson Jr. did not know what to do with that man. Like, he is twice his size. Like, he probably has 50 pounds on him. But he could not figure out what to do with that man. And he couldn't figure out what to do with Thunder defense in general. The Jaren Jackson Jr. had 4 points tonight, 2 of 13 shooting, 0 of 4 from deep, and also had 3 turnovers. So, I mean, just ridiculous effort, man.
Speaking of Memphis, like, that gives you the vibes of like Kevin Durant against Tony Allen a little bit. I'm not saying Jaren Jackson Jr. is on the level of Kevin Durant offensively, but really tall guy, smaller, gritty defender, being able to make you uncomfortable and get you off your spot. Absolutely insane. And we've got several of those guys. It's just, it's going to be so fun just watching what happens. I mean, obviously, this is only one game. It's a 51-point win, but we're 0-0 until Tuesday, mentality.
0-0 mentality, baby.
And, we'll see what happens. But if the fan in you looks down the line at what we can potentially do in a series against the Clippers or the Nuggets, which I really hope that one goes 7, like, it's going to be fun just throwing all of these dogs there. I mean, you're not going to stop Jokic, but like, if we can make Caruso get up in his chili a little bit around the perimeter and not let him have freedom of movement and stuff, like, man, it's just going to be fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's going to be a blast. Like, as Josh said, like, if they win the next game, it's 1-1 going into Memphis, and this game doesn't matter. So, like, you still got to take care of business. But as I have been all year, I'm very confident in this team. They are no strangers to adversity. They're no strangers to lack of adversity either. They thrive in both environments. So, we'll see what happens on Tuesday. But I am expecting a Thunder W once again, and I'm still expecting Thunder sweep.
I'm going to say 4-1 because I just think game 3, it's really hard, in that first game on the road, especially. I mean, Memphis has talent and they have pride. It didn't show today, but it will, when they go back home. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a rock fight. It's going to be grind city, in my opinion. On Thursday it will be. But yeah, I fully expect the Thunder to come out and handle business again on Tuesday.
Yep. And we will be back on Tuesday covering that game, post-game immediately after, giving our live reactions, our rapid reactions. Tap in the chat. Shout out to the guys in the chat. I didn't even see Texan by Nature here. Said 4-0 sweep. He's right there in my mindset as well. Shout out T. Said that Shai debuted the Aries Grays, the new colorway for his Shai 001s tonight. People are saying they might be the new red shoes, but we'll attribute it to rust, not the shoes, for Aries' sake. But hey, one more game like that, we're bringing the Butters back out, and we're not putting him up because he was cooking in the Butters for a very long time. But I guess this is the best way to end the podcast. Chet Holmgren today asked what his favorite play was. Kaysen's dunk. So there you go. This team loves each other. The vibes are immaculate. And we're just getting started. This is the first step on the journey to the finals. So with that being said, Mulls, thank you for coming on such short notice. It was great to see you once again,
you
and
too, man.
great time to be a Thunder fan. Thank you guys for tapping into the chat. If you're here, go ahead and drop a comment. What was your favorite play of the day? Are you in line with Chet, or was something else better for you? Did you like the too smart from Pep Presti? Did you like the dub alley-oop? What was your favorite play today? And also, while you're here, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when we go live, as we will be after every single game this playoffs that the Thunder are in. We'll be having some guests along the way. I'm in communications with a lot of people, try to bring them on to, give their reactions to the games as well. But until then, hope everybody has a great night. God bless. Hoop when you can. Thunder up 1. As always, Thunder up.
Thunder up.
I guess Thunder up 1-0 is what I was trying to say there.